Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. If you're joining us for the first time, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any important updates. Today, we've got some news that's bound to bring a smile to the faces of many of you, especially if you're a senior citizen or you know someone who is. R2-300, yes, you heard me right, R2-300 has been confirmed as a pension increase for many South African pensioners. Now, I know that might sound like a lot to digest, but it's an incredibly important update, and if you're receiving a government pension, you definitely don't want to miss this. Stick with me as I walk you through everything you need to know about this increase, when you'll start seeing the changes, and how it's going to affect your financial situation. So, grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's dive straight into this exciting news. So, let's start by understanding exactly what this R2-300 increase is all about. If you've been keeping track of South Africa's economic changes, you've probably already heard the buzz about how the government has been making adjustments to pension payments. But what's all the fuss about, and why is this increase such a big deal? Well, this increase is part of an important step the South African government is taking to support its older citizens, particularly those who are struggling to keep up with rising costs in today's economy. The R2-300 increase that's being implemented is part of the State Old Age Pension, SOAP, which is the financial assistance provided to South Africans over the age of 60 who have limited income and assets. Now, to make it clear, this is not just a small change. This boost has been implemented to adjust for the cost of living increases that have been hitting pensioners especially hard in the last year. With prices rising for essentials like food, utilities, and healthcare, the government's decision to increase the pension payment is aimed at making sure that those who are most vulnerable, our pensioners, don't have to choose between buying groceries and paying for their prescriptions. But let's take a closer look at just how much this increase will impact the lives of pensioners across South Africa. Let's get into the specifics of the increase and break down the numbers. Before this new change, the government pension for a single individual who qualified for the old age grant was set at R1,860. Now, with the recent announcement, that payment is being bumped up to R4,160 a month, which is a huge jump, R2-300 more than what was previously received. That means pensioners will see a direct and immediate increase in their financial security, and that extra R2-300 could really make a difference when it comes to covering the rising cost of living. You might be wondering how the government decided on this amount and why R2-300 specifically. Well, according to the latest reports from the Department of Social Development, the decision was made after analyzing the inflation rates, the increased cost of food, and other basic needs that have been soaring in recent months. By increasing pension payments by R2-300, the government is trying to ensure that seniors aren't left behind as the cost of everything from bread to bus fares continues to climb. So, while it might seem like just a number, this increase is meant to provide a cushion against those daily financial pressures that many pensioners have been feeling. Now, let's talk about eligibility. Who exactly qualifies for this R2-300 increase? Well, you have to meet certain criteria to qualify for the old age grant in the first place. So, let's break it down in simple terms. First, the key requirement is age. You need to be 60 years old or older. But age alone is not enough. There's also a means test, which is how the government checks if you need the support. The government wants to make sure that those who truly need the pension the most are the ones who receive it, so they will consider your income and assets when determining your eligibility. For single individuals, the limit for assets is currently set at R1.1 million. This means that if you have more than that in savings, property, or other assets, you might not qualify for the increase. For couples, the asset limit is at 2.2 million, so the combined value of your household's assets cannot exceed that amount if you want to be eligible for the grant. Income is another important factor. If you're receiving other forms of support, say, from other pensions or regular earnings, you may not qualify for this increase. But the good news is that the SASSA, South African Social Security Agency, works with simple guidelines to help pensioners understand exactly where they stand, and you can apply to find out if you're eligible. If you meet the criteria, you'll automatically be enrolled, and you'll start seeing that extra R2-300 in your bank account soon. So, now that we know about the increase and who qualifies, let's talk about when you can actually expect to see this change. When is that R2-300 going to show up in your account? Good news. The new increase payment is set to start in May 2025. Yes, just around the corner. So if you've been anxiously waiting for this bump in your pension, it's almost here. The government has confirmed that the increased payments will be rolled out during the regular monthly SASSA payment cycle. If you're already used to receiving your pension on a particular date each month, you can expect the extra amount to appear during that time. For many pensioners, this additional amount will make a noticeable difference, especially in the next few months, as we move into the colder months when expenses tend to rise due to heating costs and other seasonal factors. So, be on the lookout for your May payment, as it will be higher than usual, by R2-300 more than what you're used to. So, what does this actually mean for South African pensioners? How will the R2-300 increase actually change things for you on a day-to-day basis? For many, this increase is life-changing. Think about it. You've probably seen the cost of food rise dramatically, right? Basic groceries like bread, milk, and vegetables have become so much more expensive. For a pensioner living on a fixed income, this increase is a welcome relief. With an extra R2-300, pensioners will find it easier to meet the basic costs of living, whether it's putting food on the table or paying for monthly utilities. Then there's transportation. Whether you take a bus or rely on a car, traveling is something that many seniors still need to do, whether for healthcare appointments, shopping, or simply staying active in their community. The added R2-300 could make it easier to cover these travel costs, especially with rising fuel prices that have been squeezing everyone. Finally, we can't forget about healthcare costs. Many pensioners rely on government health services, but there are still out-of-pocket costs for things like medicine, doctor visits, and specialized care. The extra R2-300 could make it easier to manage those additional costs and ensure that seniors are able to continue getting the medical attention they need. In short, this increase gives pensioners a bit of breathing room, something many of them have been desperately needing. Now, you might be wondering, what's next? After this R2-300 increase, should pensioners expect more increases in the future? Will the government continue to adjust pension payments as prices continue to rise? While we can't predict the future with absolute certainty, it's clear that the South African government is recognizing the importance of adjusting pension payments to match inflation and the rising cost of living. This R2-300 increase is a step in the right direction, and the government has indicated that further increases or adjustments could be on the table in the future, especially if inflation continues to outpace regular income growth. For now, pensioners can rest easy knowing that this immediate increase will provide much-needed financial relief. As for the long-term future, it's always a good idea to stay informed and keep an eye on government announcements for any further updates regarding social grants or pension changes. And that's it for today's video. I hope you found this information helpful and that you're feeling more confident about what's coming your way. The R2-300 increase is certainly a welcome change for pensioners, and it's great to see the government taking action to support South Africa's senior citizens. If you or someone you know qualifies for this increase, make sure to share this video and spread the word. And, of course, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I'll be happy to help out. Thanks for tuning in today. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed, and take care.